It's Friday, July the 3rd, 2020. My name is Pam, and welcome to the reading of the Record Courier. Let's begin today's reading with the area deaths. Mary Kittrush, 94, passed away June 30th, 2020, at her home. A graveside service will be held at 2 p.m. Tuesday, July the 7th, at Crest Haven Memorial Gardens. Lindsley Royal Funeral Home in East Palestine is in charge of the arrangements. Stella Rebecca Collier passed away peacefully on Monday, June 15th, at the age of 92. A mass of Christian burial will be held at St. Rose's Church in New Lexington on July 11th at noon. Calling hours will begin 1 hour prior to the service. Due to COVID-19 guidelines, it is required that everyone attending wear a mask and practice social distancing. Well, that concludes the Friday area death notices. Now for our first article. Hot Weekend Ahead by Eileen McClory. This 4th of July will be a hot one. Temperatures are supposed to hit the low to mid 90s during the day beginning Friday until next Wednesday, when showers and thunderstorms are possible, according to the National Weather Service in Cleveland. The National Weather Service has not issued an extreme heat alert yet, but extreme heat is defined as a long period, 2 or 3 days, of high heat and humidity with temperatures above 90 degrees. It is about 10 degrees above what we typically see for the beginning of July, says Zach Sefcovic, a meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Cleveland. He said the average temperatures for early July is typically in the low 80s for most of northeastern Ohio. Sefcovic said the lack of rain lately meant a lack of ground moisture, which meant it can get hotter in the area. The central and southern parts of the United States have been seeing more rain and even some flooding, he said. While it will be hot, it won't be the hottest July 4th holiday. Weather Service records kept in Northeast Ohio since 1887 lists the hottest Independence Day on record as July 4th, 1911, when the temperatures soared to 99 degrees. The coldest Independence Day was in 1904, when the temperatures dropped to 41 degrees. The Portage Emergency Management Agency has not issued a heart advisory for the next few days as of Thursday, and there are currently no plans for a cooling center. For information, our policy for a cooling center is a sustained heat wave of equal to or greater than 98 degrees Fahrenheit. This excludes the heat index, says Ryan Shackelford, the director of Portage EMA, in an email. Sefcovic said the National Weather Service is advising people not to lock pets or children in cars because the temperature inside can rise rapidly on a hot day. Be aware of how much they are exerting themselves outside and make sure they are aware of the symptoms of both heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Heat exhaustion symptoms include cool, moist skin with goosebumps in the heat, heavy sweating, faintness, dizziness, fatigue, a weak, rapid pulse, low blood pressure when standing, muscle cramps, nausea, and a headache. Heat stroke symptoms include a body temperature of over 104 degrees while in the heat, red skin, lack of sweating despite the heat, headache, and dizziness. I certainly want to empathize taking frequent breaks while abiding by and local rules as we go through the coronavirus issues that are going through the area. Make sure you're following any state of Ohio or CDC guidelines too, Sefcovic said. So, if you do head out for fireworks or to a barbecue, don't forget your mask. This next article is titled County Leaders Warn of Increase in Coronavirus by Diane Smith. Portage County leaders urged residents to follow safety precautions during the Independence Day holiday weekend as coronavirus have increased around the county and the state. Thursday's COVID-19 media briefing, a weekly conference hosted by Portage County Commissioner Kathleen Clyde and other officials, mentioned the rise in cases as the state begins to reopen. Joseph DiOrio, the county's health commissioner, said the summer brought with it an increase in test availability and, unfortunately, an increase in disregard for personal protective measures. The state saw an increase in cases in recent days, including higher population areas and Put-in-Bay, which had an outbreak recently. Locally, he said, the county's epidemiologist said the county saw a 1% increase of cases this week and 1% increase on Thursday. People should stay home, or if they choose to socialize, stay outside, he said. Residents also should maintain a 6-foot distance from other people, avoid large groups, wear face covering, and wash their hands. Those who are watching fireworks should watch them in their yards or stay in their vehicles. He said the Ohio National Guard visited several of the county's nursing homes to test all staff members as well as residents. Another group of nursing homes will be tested next week, he said. However, he noted, the results won't be available until 5 days later. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine unveiled a health advisory system on Thursday, which put counties in 4 levels depending on the level of coronavirus, including yellow or level 1, level 2 or orange, level 3 or red, and level 4 or purple. No counties are at a level 4, although Franklin County, which includes Columbus, is marked with a black star, which means the county is approaching level 4. Portage County is at a level 1, as is Geauga County. However, Trumbull County is at a level 3, and most of the surrounding counties, including Summit County, are at a level 2. Clyde talked about the need to push for a second stimulus because the CARES Act funding won't replace lost income, she said. She is concerned that local governments will have to cut safety forces or the health department without adding funding. She also commended other communities who require people to wear face masks in public, saying she will look into whether those regulations would be appropriate for Portage County. She encouraged residents to be safe. We can do this, Portage County, she said. Moving on. In-person census help is coming soon to Portage by Krista Cano. There will soon be 2 programs to assist those who have not yet completed the 2020 census questionnaire. In a community conversation Facebook Live event with Portage County Commissioner Kathleen Clyde, Faye Nicholson, outreach specialist with the Census Office in Philadelphia, announced that the Mobile Questionnaire Assistance Program will begin in Portage on July 13. The program places census response representatives in areas with low response rates to help people fill out the questionnaires on their own devices. Representatives will be stationed in places like grocery store parking lots and outdoor spaces operated by census partners. The program will run through September 18th. According to Clyde, MQAs will be in the parking lot of Kent Social Services, the Kent Health Department, and Crestwood Local Schools, but they are still working to finalize exact locations and dates in Portage. We'll make sure you know when that is, and we'll all be working to publicize. We're looking to find more locations, especially in areas where the count is lower, Clyde said. In-person canvassing will start on August 11th, when census workers will knock on doors to conduct interviews in person. Census workers will be wearing personal protective equipment and will not enter homes, Nicholson said. If someone comes to your door and they ask you questions that have to do with your banking information, social security number, political affiliation, donations, or anything like that, they're not with us because we don't ask those questions. We ask for your age, sex, and race for every person in your household, Nicholson said. Should someone like that visit, residents should alert the regional census office by calling 267-780-2600, Nicholson said. Census workers take a lifetime confidentiality oath and are subject to 5 years in prison and/or a $250,000 fine for sharing information, she added. We want to make sure everyone feels safe when they respond. The census takes safety and security very seriously, she said. People are still able to self-respond by visiting my2020census.gov and by calling 844-330-2020. Neither mode requires a census ID. Those who do not know their census ID will be able to respond by entering their physical address, not a P.O. box. Tell your neighbors and friends and family members to respond because it's so important, she said. It determines how many seats we get in House and funding that comes into your community. You live with that funding for 10 years, so you want to make sure you can have enough funding to support emergency services, programs for children and the elderly, infrastructure for bridges and roads, and so much more. It's very important that everyone responds. The deadline to respond to the census is October 31st. Next article, Brimfield Meijer opens on July 9th by Bob Gatins. Brimfield's new Meijer store has set an official opening date of July the 9th. Opening the same day will be a new store in Lorain. Both will be 155,000 square feet in size. Joe Hirschmungel, External Communications Manager, said the Brimfield store, located at 219 Talmadge Road in Brimfield near Interstate 76, will employ more than 300 people. One of the main differences between Walmart and Meijer is Meijer was founded on groceries, he added. Meijer prides itself on being a grocer first. A lot of people love to come to Meijer for the fresh beef, produce, dairy, and so on. To start, he said, the hours of operation will be from 6 a.m. to midnight, but that is subject to change. The hours could change in the weeks to come due to the pandemic situation, he explained. Normal non-COVID-19 hours at Meijer's stores are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year except Christmas. Hirschmogel is hopeful the store can adopt those hours as the pandemic conditions permit. Like other grocery stores, Meijer will adopt several COVID-19 safety protocols in the new store, including social distancing, safety decals to help with spacing, protective plexiglass shields at checkouts, and daily screening and temperature checks for employees who also are asked to wear masks, according to a Meijer's news release. The Lorain and Brimfield store will be the last of a batch of 5 opening in Northeast Ohio this year. The new stores will feature fresh groceries, a fresh bakery, fresh meat and deli counters, as well as a garden center. Other departments will include a pharmacy, electronics, toys, sports, and apparel, according to a Meijer's news release. In 1962, Meijer became the first supercenter offering groceries, clothing, hardware, and more. Stores now sell more than 220,000 produces from products to goods, according to information from the store. Well, moving on. Here's where you can find local 4th of July fireworks events by Tawny Bean. Many local communities are not hosting fireworks and other 4th of July events this year due to COVID-19, but some still plan on celebrating. Want to witness and participate in some patriotic events? Look no further than this listing of celebrations taking place in Summit and Portage counties this weekend. Now, through Saturday, July 4th, in Aurora the Beautiful Home Decorating Contest, residents are encouraged to patriotically decorate their homes. The winner will receive a $50 Amazon gift card, and the 2 runners-up will be given a $25 Amazon gift card. In place of the city's annual frog jumping contest, video submissions of residents hopping frogs will be compiled and shared online. Aurora the Beautiful and the Hopping Frog submissions should be sent to Jenny Nichols at Nichols, NICHOLSJ, at auroraohio.com. Friday, July 3rd, Aurora Movie Night featuring Toy Story 4 from dusk to 11 p.m. in Aurora High School's north parking lot. Due to social distancing regulations, there is a 100-person cap on spectators. This event is limited to Aurora residents only, and you must register at https://aurora.activityreg.com. Now, Friday, July 3rd through Sunday, July 5th, in Cuyahoga Falls, a 4th of July float hosted by Float the River. This event will begin at 10 a.m. Friday and end at 4 p.m. Sunday at Old Town Loop next to the Cuyahoga River. Participants can bring their own tube or kayak or rent one from Float the River. Tickets can be purchased at https://fairharbor.com. Saturday, July 4th in Akron, fireworks will be launched at 9:45 p.m. from the Akron Executive Airport, Patterson Park Ballfields, Summit Lake, and the State Street parking deck in downtown Akron. Test shots will be fired from all locations at 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m., and 9:30 to give spectators time to adjust their viewpoints. There will be a patriotic soundtrack playing during the show on WONE 97.5 FM. Fourth on the field, hosted by the Akron Rubber Ducks and presented by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased by calling 330-253-5151. A portion of the proceeds will go to United Way of Summit County. Gates are open at 6 p.m. and the movie Frozen 2 will begin at 7:30, followed by fireworks. Spectators must wear facial coverings throughout the event. No outside food or drink is permitted, but snacks and refreshments can be purchased at the ballpark's concessions by cashless means. In Northfield, fireworks show after dusk at Longwood Park. Spectators' cars must be parked 10 feet away from one another, so space is limited. In Woodside Lake Park in Streetsboro, fireworks will be launched after dark around 10 p.m., but parking will be available starting at 7. Snacks and drinks can be purchased at the campgrounds office, though only 4 people are permitted entry at a time and masks are encouraged. Saturday, July 4th through Saturday, July 11th, Aurora has a virtual 5K run walk. Registration is $30 and includes a shirt, medal, and a link to download a bib within 1 to 3 business days. Our next article is titled Mantua Police Receive GE Appliances for Police Station. GE Appliances has donated a washer, a dryer, a refrigerator, and a tabletop microwave to the Mantua Police Department as part of the GEA for Heroes program, which seeks to provide first responder agencies appliances in the battle with COVID-19, according to the press release. Mantua Police said last year an officer was exposed to a suspicious powder later identified as fentanyl. 2 days prior to the notification they had won the award, an officer was exposed to a person who was COVID-19 positive during a traffic stop. The ability to immediately launder uniforms and equipment would help to prevent further contamination, police said in a press release. The refrigerator and microwave will give employees space to store food and drinks, the department added, and will also hold any donations for food from the community. The department's current refrigerator is much smaller and has limited space. Moving on, our next article is titled A Focus on Workforce by Bob Gaetjens. Aurora's new Economic Development Director, Holly Harris Bain, has a wealth of experience in higher education, workforce development, and government, and now she's putting that experience to work for the city of Aurora. But before she could get to know Aurora's businesses better and learn about their workforce needs, the COVID-19 pandemic shut down the economy. Everybody had locked down, she said. My first week on the job, they had just passed the CARES Act. I put everything into what I thought was pretty basic information package. For 6 weeks, I was just getting out information about federal, state, and local programs to help companies. She's working part-time for the city, earning a salary of $48,000 per year to work between 25 and 29 hours per week. Her first day was March 31st. Since 2016, Harris Bain has been president of the Northeast Ohio Council for Higher Education. She also has held positions at the University of Akron and the Office of International Programs and Confucius Institute. She also helped found the Ray C. Bliss Institute of Applied Politics at the University of Akron under the guidance of former University of Akron President Dr. Louis Proenza, and helped found and lead the Ohio Reads program under former Governor Bob Taft. Initially, when the governor hired me, the goal was to have 10,000 volunteers from across the state of Ohio to serve as reading mentors of children in grades 3 and 4, says Harris Bain. After 2 years, we had 40,000 adults in the schools. It was a great community engagement program. Harris Bain said Aurora's leadership and school system are 2 of its biggest assets. She said she's known Mayor Ann Warmer Benjamin for years and appreciates the relationships she built around the state. Leadership within a community makes a big difference for economic development, she said. She said Warmer Benjamin has successfully connected several businesses in the community with the Ohio Manufacturing Alliance, which is focused on producing personal protective equipment in state. So if a second COVID-19 wave hits, Ohio is in a good position when it comes to supply line matters. That's a phenomenal alliance, and she's also surrounded herself with a very professional team, says Harris Bain. The industrial park also is an asset. I had no idea how big that was and how many businesses there were. There's also an entrepreneurial spirit in this community that I wasn't aware of until I was here. She said community members often move back to town when they want to start a company or family. The close-knit relationships among the businesses, city, and school communities also will help, she added. The more that businesses, schools, and government work together and collaborate, the better it is for the community, she said, explaining those relationships help foster workforce development and strengthen the community as well. In addition to the difficulties businesses everywhere face with the COVID-19 pandemic, Harris Bain said it would be nice if the city had more industrial space to expand in. You're going to find that developers are going to be hesitant to build more buildings ready to move into, she said. One of the things we're hearing is that companies that were planning to expand and grow their workforce may not feel the need right now to expand into new buildings. That's a trend that Streetsboro Mayor Glenn Broska has discussed off and on for the past year or so. But COVID-19 may be making the situation more difficult, according to Harris Bain, since many businesses may be encouraging employees to work from home. She also said she'd like to see more IT firms in Aurora to further diversify the city's business base. They could blend easily into development that's already here, she said. That would be a great connection where our high school students could do internships and even work during their college career. Another challenge is filling unusual retail locations, such as the former Dugan's restaurant and Cinemark 10 at Barrington Town Center. But with creativity, she believes the space will be filled again. I like to bring people together to share ideas and get the creative juices flowing, said Harris Bain. Everybody I've spoken to in Aurora wants the former Dugan's location to be another restaurant, but 11,000 square feet is pretty big for a restaurant. Maybe it's a space where all the entrepreneurs in Aurora can have their own hub. She also said it could house food truck restaurants, which normally are at their busiest during the summer with its farmers markets and festivals. It will be a process of bringing the right people to the table and discussing how to create that space, she said. We need to think of that 11,000 square feet not as a detriment to marketing, but as an advantage. Well, let's move on. Stowe Monroe Falls School Board member admonished by the board by Alan Ashworth. A member of the Stowe Monroe Falls School Board was sanctioned and admonished by other board members Thursday night in a special session of the body. Lisa Johnson Bowers, who had been criticized for laughing during a recent virtual school board meeting about racism, was cited for violating the board's code of conduct and ethics. President Jason Whitaker read the resolution aloud as about 20 members of two local groups calling for Johnson Bowers' resignation looked on in the board's Allen Road chambers. The resolution was approved after the board met behind closed doors for 2 hours in executive session. Before the session opened, about 20 protesters lofted signs calling for Johnson Bowers to resign for laughing while emotionally charged accounts of racism in Stowe and Stowe schools were read at a board meeting earlier this week. After the protest outside the school board building, the protesters moved inside as the start of the Thursday's meeting approached. Johnson Bowers made a statement to the crowd apologizing for her actions on the Zoom video. It was her birthday, she said, and she was distracted by her child and dog. At just the wrong moment, she said, my son walked into the room. Johnson Bowers said she fully supports Black Lives Matter. I promise to do better moving forward, she said. Following her statement, the board went into executive session. Before the meeting, Antoinette East Jenkins, a member of Progressive United of Stowe, said an earlier apology from Johnson Bowers did not appear sincere. Her group was calling for Johnson Bowers to resign, and another apology wouldn't suffice, East Jenkins said. I think she missed the mark, East Jenkins said. She said she's aware of a student in the system who has experienced verbal abuse because of his race. He's been called the N-word there, and there are no consequences when this happens, she said. At another time, the student was confronted by a school resource officer for unruly behavior, but the other students weren't. Hopefully, after today, the school board members will realize we're serious, she said. Rachel Jamison, who attended elementary school in the district, said Johnson Bowers should resign. Jamison's brother, Miguel Carvalho, who graduated from Stowe Monroe Falls High School, said he was aware of bullying and mistreatment due to race, both while he attended the school and after he graduated. Carvalho said there has been long inequities in the school district. It was never a place that made me feel all the way welcome, he said. The Hudson school system, Carvalho said, has a diversity coordinator, and he would like to see the Stowe Monroe Falls district create a similar position. East Jenkins, who is on 2 committees established by the superintendent to combat racism, said Johnson Bowers' actions run counter to the committee's goal. Whitaker cited the resolution as the board's response to Johnson Bowers' actions. I think we spoke through our resolution, he said. I hope people can start focusing on the message. Jamison said the resolution was inadequate and said calls for Johnson Bowers to resign would continue. Well, my friends, that concludes the Record Courier for Friday, July 3rd. My name is Pam. Please stay safe until we are back with you again, and have a very happy holiday and 4th of July.